If at first you don't succeed, try again. Peace. Hi, I'm Peter Panagore, yogi, master's degree of divinity from Yale in mysticism, renegade liberal clergy, mystical misfit, transcendental free thinker, near-death experiencer times 2, out of the body experiencer times many times, and wordsmith, channeler of the divine. Oneness experiencer pointing at the mystery above, found within. A soul lover, because I am infinitely loved by the beloved. A seeker just like you. Welcome to my mystical exploration and support channel, where we seek the primary source, uppercase P, uppercase S, using sources from the East and the West. Not church, no doctrine, no dogma, no theology, deconstructing scriptures to uncover the hidden meaning and light within, just as we did last week with Being Here Now Stops the Worries. Check it out. Check in the links below. You'll find it there. Not church is universal mysticism spoken with a culturally Christian accent. Today, by request, and as promised, God is no judge. Why should you judge? I'm going to take that title again. Today, by request, and as promised, God is no judge. So why should you? What I learned when I was dead. And we'll look at Matthew 7:1-3 with new eyes through the lit lens of near-death experience. Mysticism isn't just pie in the sky when you die, my friends. Mystical experience is applicable and practical, creating a footing in the world right where you stand. If it didn't, what good would it be for us here and now? BTW, if you have a Sunday talk request, just pop it in the comments below, please. Now, let's set a tone for the here and now with a communing time of centering silence, stillness, and balance. Distance and time between from where and when you are as you listen here makes no difference to the timeless and omnipresent mystery. This is the time when we open our minds and open our hearts to the entangled quanta of our soul touching the here and now and the always unchanging present. Centering prayer is a simple stepping aside in surrender while aiming your intention at the light who is love, seeking to become a channel of peace. Thank you, St. Francis. Pick a sacred word, a sentence, or a prayer you know by heart to chant inside your head, following your breath. And when your mind wanders, return to your chant and follow your breath. We'll meditate together now. This is meditation as prayer. And if you want to know more about it, check in the notes below. I have links to help you. Now, please close your eyes and follow along as we begin with chanting Om aloud to raise our prana, and then we move interiorly to a form of pranayama. Where two or more are gathered, I am there, said Jesus. So let's begin. Now with the Om, you begin with belly and chest and vibrate inside your chest, inside your throat, and up into your third eye, your brow. And when we then shift after that into just the silent chanting, just follow your breath, use your belly breathing through your nose. And when your mind wanders, just return to your prayer. So here we go. breath. Centering prayer. A single breath of silence is worth 10,000 of a busy mind. I want to say good morning to people I didn't say good morning to earlier. See if I catch everybody here. Hey, Jim. Good morning, Meadowlark, EK, Louise, Lois, Cynthia, Elena, Adarasha in India. Good evening. Thank you, Adarasha. Kay Winchester, Diana, Primary Feathers, Elena, Alice, Melissa, Cynthia, Michael from Oklahoma, Alice, Karen, Helen, Logan, Emily. I'm going to have to stop now, my friends. I love you guys, but I should continue on. Hello to everyone. God doesn't judge, so why should you? What I learned when I was in hell, what I learned when I was dead. I'm riffing off of Matthew 7:1-3 today. This is how the single ear of my NDE soul hears Jesus talk about judgment. I hear him in the first person when he speaks. I always hear him speaking from his own mystical experience. That was the biggest change that occurred for me in terms of my reading of the Bible. No longer did I hear him expounding, telling us what to do. Instead, I heard and hear his own mystical experience. And so we're going to do that a little bit this morning, too. You've heard it this way. Judge not, lest ye be judged. Judge not, lest ye be judged, is what is written in the King James Version. This is what I hear behind those words. Listen to the first person voice of Jesus. I judged others, so I was judged. I was treated as I treated others. The standard I used in judging others was the standard measure by which I was judged when I was in heaven. I learned about the log in my own eye, and now I laugh about the speck in yours. I have a log in my own eye. How about you? You've heard it this way. Judge not, lest you be judged. Why do you worry about the speck in your neighbor's eye when you have a log in your own? I have a log in my eye. A couple of them, a stack of them. How about you? Jesus speaks out of his direct mystical experience in heaven, which is why I put him in the first person. Let those who have ears hear, as he would say. And if you listen with the ear of your heart and you feel for it, if you sense for it, you'll hear it. Hearing, seeing, understanding arise from the goodness deep inside us, coming through our higher selves, directly from the mystery, uppercase M, within, giving us roots to guide our lives. In my case, after my death, when I was in my own hell, I judged myself. I was the judge. I held the gavel. In life, unknowingly, I had built my own pyre, log by log, stacking each atop the other. Each time I judged each person, in Christian cultural language, I sinned. Bad karma. Intentionally slashing with the blade of my tongue, often drawing emotional blood. I hurt people by intention. Intention matters. With every wound I inflicted blindly, I prepared for myself a blessed self-immolation, tossing another log to my unlit, kerosene-soaked bonfire upon which I blindly stood while I lived my selfish life. Selfishness is not bad. Selfishness is why we survive as human beings on Earth. We survive because we keep the resources to ourselves sometimes. And in tribes, we keep them in tribal groups selfishly. Selfishness is a necessity. Ego is a necessity to live life. But it definitely has its downside. And I didn't just have one log, but I had many logs in my eyes, many logs piled up on my pyre. And only it turned out that the wounds I inflicted on others, I gave to myself. You've heard me say this before. What goes around comes around, spiritually speaking. Karma. At least so it was for me. And take heart, my friends, and fear not. There's always good news at Not Church. And here's what the mystical master genius, Meister Eckhart, wrote about this. The only thing that burns in hell is the part of you that won't let go of your life, your memories, your attachments. If you're frightened of dying and you're holding on, you'll see devils tearing your life away. If you made your peace, then the devils are really angels freeing you from earth. He wrote this in the 13th century, and I experienced this in the 20th century, years before I ever even heard his name. All condemning judgments I rendered in life are, and I render in life, are attachments that need purging from me, or at least that was the way it was for me. The divine fire of love cleansed me. My beloved showed me the human condition of karma, all of us born in the universal condition of suffering, which is the natural state woven into the entire cosmos of time and space in which we little humans live. Everything consumes something else, from supermassive black holes that eat star systems to fungus that rots logs or the fire that burns them. The voice, capital V, said to me, "You didn't make the system. I did. I am creator. You are creature. Creature, you're not to blame. And it isn't your fault that caused you to judge people in your life. Release your judgments by my love. Turn to me with love, and you'll free yourself. Feel my healing love filling you now. Judgments through your egoic mind create attachments to suffering that you blindly cause others. Release it. Feel my love and fall into my perfection. I love you and have always loved you and known you and always will. I know you as you are. I forgive you. I am mercy and healing. Welcome home. I heard with the ear of my heart and turned to love, and then my suffering ended. Peace, healing, wellness, and light infilled me, or better said, refilled me, as I returned to my originally created state of being in bliss, a being of bliss. And this is why I try, in my failed and frail human way, to live as gently as I humanly can in life. People judge us. We judge people. It arises out of our physical nature. Our biological survival is based on judgments we make. Decades ago, the Maine legislature repealed a law, you're not going to believe this, repealed a law allowing for passing on a double yellow line. It used to be legal in Maine, but every year humans with poor judgments were dying. So they repealed it. Because making judgments is hard, making good judgments in life. Making judgments, making informed choices is what we have to do as humans. Good judgments keep us safe from dangerous people, keep us healthy, and help us prosper. Bad judgments can lead to destructive relationships with narcissists, psychopaths, and Machiavellianists. Most destructive are when those three are combined. Good judgments protect us from that kind of person, from those kind of people. We make judgments who we're going to associate with and who we're not going to associate with, who hurts us and who doesn't. This isn't about being Jesus meek and Jesus mild. This is about the strength of making good judgments in life for self-protection, while also the humility in life for making judgments, for not making judgments that condemn people. Jesus isn't talking about the good judgments and the necessary judgments that we're making. He's not talking about those kinds of judgments. He's talking about the kind of judgments that directly cause harm, especially with intent. Our blindness to the light living inside us keeps us from seeing our blindness to the light living inside us. Our own blindness to our own light prevents us and keeps us from seeing the light inside others and from seeing the equality that we are the same light, both in our light inside and in our physical mortality. We didn't make the system. We didn't. And our mortality causes us to hurt others, and it causes them to hurt us. I judged others as deserving of being hurt by me because of my own emotional wounds, my angers, my jealousies, my envies, arising out of my false self-sense of superiority or woundedness or victimhood. But mostly, it was out of vengeance. I was hurt and I wanted to hurt back. My time in hell showed me that I had stacked my own logs and found out it was all completely forgivable. I was born blind in a blind world, born beneath the 70,000 veils. So in my death, to cleanse me, I was treated as I treated others. The measure by which you judge is the measure by which you are judged. If you heard my story, then you know what I mean. If not, you can see a link below for a brief video titled Heaven is Beautiful. The measure of suffering, judgment I experienced in hell of my own making was proportional. Proportional in number, but disproportional in pain to the hurtful judgments I gave to others. It was a much greater pain for me. I wanted to hurt others. Only it turns out I hurt myself. God didn't judge me. Jesus didn't judge me. I self-judged by the measure I judged others, and I found myself guilty. and the logs in my eyes were removed. And when you're going through hell, said Winston Churchill, keep going. The beloved is, was, and always will be compassion, forgiveness, and mercy, leading directly into the paradise of heaven. The practicality of the mystical experience of Jesus is to understand his wisdom of humility that comes when seeing oneself from seeing oneself as one is, both made of goodness and mud, both made of ashes and light. And in doing so, and aiming at the light, begin to see the commonality of our own brokenness that we share as human beings, and cease from condemning other people to a hell of your hatred, a hell of my jealousy, a hell of my envy, a hell of my vengeance, and begin to see the same in everyone we meet, the light within, the equality of our own brokenness in this world of suffering. The log in my own inner eye so often prevents us from seeing the light behind the speck in the eye of others. The log in my eye stops me from seeing the goodness in you. Meditation and prayer help remove the log of blindness, but so does action. An action, a life of living kindness and humility and compassion while making good judgments about self-protection and the context of the world. For what you give is what you receive. What goes around comes around. Now, what do we do? And how do we handle it when people judge us, making us feel angry or humiliated or hurt or fearful? What do you think about that? How do you handle that? Let me know in the comments. And as for me, like the other evening when I was out for a walk, one of my wealthy neighbors from a porch publicly judged my lack of wealth, measuring me as therefore less than, which stung, but I recognized that he could not see beyond his own pain. And so I did what I always do with the sting. I dove inside myself into prayer, and I held him and hold him in light, and I thus lifted the wound from my heart. It's not a perfect technique, but it works well enough for me. So what do you do when you're stung by judgment? Let us know in the comments. Let's crowdsource wisdom solutions. That's what Not Church is. It's not me, it's us, because we all share the divine light. We are all made of goodness. We are all constructed by the Creator. We are all connected. And out of your mystical experiences, out of your wisdom, bring it to the comment page. Tell us how you handle it. I'm always a student. I'm always learning. So if you enjoyed this video, if this spoke to you in some way, if you felt the divine presence, if it helped you understand, then please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe and click the alert. And thanks for being with me today and for your gifts of support last week, large and small, that came, that literally keep this mystical mission, Not Church, coming to you and to hundreds of others for free. A few of you, thank God, make all the difference. Big, huge thanks. And check out my new Q&A series. Post your questions in the comments. Many people send me questions, and sometimes I answer in public, anonymity assured, in the new Q&A series. The most recent, What's Up with the Power of Intention and Manifesting? And you can find the link below. So next Sunday, I'm going to be at a family wedding in the rural western mountains of Maine. You all thought I lived rurally on the coast of Maine? You have no idea. Next Sunday, I'm going to be at the family wedding in rural Western Maine in the mountains. And how rural is it? I am so glad you asked. It is so rural that the only cell service reception for dozens of miles around is at the top of a hill where everybody in town gathers with their pickup trucks and cars to make phone calls. And it's a couple of miles from the house. So next Sunday, I'm going to provide a pre recorded not church. It's my niece's wedding. It's going to be great. People from all over. So check out peterpanagore.love to book a personal time with me this week or next week and to support Not Church. And you can look for the spinning heart, red heart on my homepage. It's PayPal, debit, credit. I fixed those things finally. It's Patreon. It's recurring if you want that. And it's Venmo. A little goes a long way. Thanks. Really. Seriously. So next, don't forget to join us with Zoom at the top of the next hour for, don't forget to join us for Mystic Tea Salon on Zoom at the top of the next hour. The link is way, way, way down at the bottom of the notes down below. And it's our mystical community crowdsourcing wisdom conversation. Thanks for joining me this morning. I'm going to go over and check out the chat here. And peace and love to you all. Peace and love to you all. Namaste. The light in me sees the light in you. Namaste. I want to say thanks to Nancy and to Tamara for your super chat gifts this morning. Thank you very much. Hey, thanks, Claybomb. Appreciate that. I'm going to scroll back up a little bit. And did you ever doubt your experience? Have you ever? Never once did I doubt my experience. Well, I knew that I had my experience, but I wondered whether I had gone insane early on. I did. I was confused. I was befuddled. But that it happened? Never doubted it. That I went to heaven? Never doubted it. But I wondered whether I had come back insane in the world because I was so different than I was. That's the truth. But it never fades. It's not in the past. Near-death experience is a thing that happened to me, but it also is a thing that is happening to me constantly and ongoing because it never shuts off. It never goes away. The perspective only gets more intense. And every successive mystical experience that I've had, and every successive death that I've had, I've only had one other, I come back different. I mean, it's the weirdest thing about mystical experience. It's not like one thing. It's like every time I journey out, every time I am journeyed, I am taken outside my body, I come back different. It's it's this progressive thing. It's this accumulation. So every time I go, I am a different guy when I come back. It's a pretty crazy thing. Very unexpected. Hey, Cal, extra over there in Southampton in the UK. Nice to see you. Good morning, Cheryl. Hey, Primary Feathers. Yeah, Meister Eckhart. This guy here, Meister Eckhart. This is from the Classics of Western Spirituality series. You know, if there's a, if there, of course there is. There's this Classic of Western Spirituality series is the collection of all of the mystics that yeah, I don't know if they're still publishing, but they published dozens and dozens and dozens of Western mystics, classics of Western spirituality. And Meister Eckhart, the greatest Western mystic of them all, in my humble opinion. What says Catherine? I don't know what you're saying. Oh my God, tears of release. Oh my God. Thank you for saying that, Kristen. I really, truly, truly am here just trying to give hope. I'm just here trying to help people find their way home. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help you open your heart to the light that is already inside of you so that it can shine and give you strength, shine and give you courage, shine and give you fortitude and bliss and a little taste of peace in life. Oh my God, tears of release. Powerful words. Thank you. Your name is in Japanese, and I unfortunately don't know Japanese, but thank you for saying so. True, so true. If God does not judge, then how can we? When we do, we're the only ones judging ourselves. I was not judged by God. I was only loved. Only loved. And so the measure by which I was judged was the measure by which I judged. It was all about me. Me. Me, my mine. Says Augustine, the three worst, terrible, most awful words in language, me, my, mine. I judged myself. I set myself up for self judgment. I mean, we all do, but don't you worry not to worry, because compassion and mercy and forgiveness and love is infinitely greater than us, infinitely greater than the whole cosmos. And just because I went through a hell of my own making does not mean that you will. So many different kinds of near death experiences. Mine was mine, and yours will be yours, and it won't be a near death experience in the end. There is a time that's coming for all of us when it won't be near death experience, it will be death. Beautiful, beautiful transition to the next world, beautiful journeying on, beautiful step through the door that is dark here that turns out to be brilliantly illuminated as soon as you pass through it. It's our blindness here, the logs in our own eyes that get in the way of our seeking. And we spend so much time trying to pluck out and pick out the speck in someone else's. We yell and we scream and we hate and we judge and we order, be like me. I'm moral. Don't you sin your sin. And while I keep mine private and secret, yours are public. I make them public. Jeez, I hate that kind of stuff. I do. If I hate anything, it's that. But I don't hate the people because they're made of light and they can't help themselves. Nobody can really help themselves. The only help there is the light itself. The light itself is the salvation. The love itself is the salvation. The love of the divine saved me. I judged myself. And the unitive state, the divine light, the primary source, the bliss, Allah, Christ consciousness, call it whatever you want, because no language, the Hovye Vovye, the YHWH, the source, no language contains the infinite love, the compassion, and the joy that is yours and will be yours. Heaven here with a little h, heaven there with a capital H. Peace is ours to have here. Even in turmoil, peace is ours to have here. When we learn to see ourselves as we are, made of goodness and light, and then we see that in others, even in our enemies, even in those who hurt us. And then judgment goes away. You know, when someone says, hey, no judgment, that's when I'm pretty sure there's judgment. Such a beautiful message. Thank you, Beth. Say hi to Ken for me. So different from what's taught in many churches. When stung, first ice cream, then forgiveness. I had gelato. Wow. Yeah. Raspberry gelato really helps. Yeah. Or is it sorbet? I think it's sorbet. Sorbet is the one without cream. I think it's sorbet. It was raspberry sorbet. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I try with a modicum of success to forgive and detach myself from all. Cal Extra. Trying matters. Trying to forgive matters. It's the intent. It's the intent that matters. It is. I usually acknowledge whatever type of judgment and I get and turn it into something positive. Excellent. And again, I thank you. I can't read your Japanese name, but thank you very much. I usually acknowledge whatever type of judgment. It's like when you're meditating and you rise above your emotions and you look at your emotion and you say, oh, that's anger. Oh, that's sadness. Oh, I feel judged. And then turn it into something positive. Autobiography by Paramahansa Yogananda. Favorite type. Oh, yeah, I got that right here, Louise. Right there. There it is right there. Previously, I used to get angry when wrongly judged. Now I just do what is mine to do and don't worry about those who judge me. Charlie, right on. That's one of the benefits of getting old, too. Hey, thank you, Cheryl, for the super chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Very, very much. Ellen, Karen, Elise, if I do not respond to the judgment inflicted upon me by someone else and I walk away, I did not receive it or take it on, and they get to sit with their own judgment. That's, it bounces off you when you don't accept it. You turn around and you don't accept it. Not judging is so healing and provides light and love inside my body and all around me. I'm not saying that I'm free from judging, and neither am I. Okay, don't get me wrong. I ain't no perfect person. I'm not saying I'm free from judging from now on, but it happens when I summon love. A- Arian, it happens when I summon love. That's the freedom I have too. So you found the same thing I found. That when you feel that thing and you summon light and love inside yourself, you become free from it. And like I said, I live as gently in the world as I can, but I am far from perfect. I still, I'm still a human being, still made of mud. Oh, yeah. Expensive cat, lol. It's in Korea. Oh my gosh, sorry, my friend. Um, that just goes to show you that I don't know my languages. It's Korean actually, and I thank you very much. It translates to expensive cat. Well, my name translates to rock, and people call me Rock. Well, among my nicknames, Rock, Stone, and lovingly said in a demeaning sort of beautiful way, Pebble, from one of my dearest friends. Hey, Pebble. Um, yeah, expensive cat. Thank you. May I call you that? Is that okay if I call you expensive cat? If I remember it in my head, I'd appreciate that. I love Yogananda. Yes, we do love Yogananda. Even in our enemies, so true, even so, expensive cat. Even so. How do we stop judging? Do we ask for God's help? Or is it something that we have to learn ourselves? It comes, okay, so how do we stop judging? It's not an intellectual assent. You can't, I mean, I suppose you can. I suppose people do, okay? But that's not the way it works for me. The way it works for me is the judging stops or ceases or lessens when I aim my life at the divine. It's a side effect. It's an after effect. It's an afterthought. It's the thing that happens because of. So when I aim myself at the divine, when I see myself in comparison to infinity, and I see myself as finite, and I see everything else as finite, which is what happens to me, which is how I live. When I practice aiming my heart at the divine, then understanding and seeing the limited nature of other people and the unlimited nature of God sets me in my place. It's not that I cease seeing this way, it's that I begin to see this way. And when I judge myself in comparison to infinity, limitedness to infinity, unmanifested to manifested, divine to human, then my judgment this way, it gets eliminated. It just goes away. So I don't work at this level. See, this is the practicality of mysticism. It's not that I'm trying to work it out here intellectually. I'm not. I'm merely learning to connect myself and communicate and be in relationship with the Holy of Holies, with the divine self, with the Atman, the Brahman. And when I have that relationship this way, my judging of others this way, it just goes away. Because now I see myself for what I am, a tiny, 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 teeny photon in comparison to a zillion, quadrillion, quadrillion, billion, septillion times the size of the cosmos photons of light that make the unity of being. I am teeny tiny. And when I see myself as teeny tiny, I then see myself as the same as everyone else. It also comes with this non attachment. Non attachment grows out of the same place. Peace grows out of the same place. Joy grows out of the same place. Forgiveness grows out of the same relationship. Hope grows out of the same relationship. It all grows out of this one single aim and intention. I often say, seek the giver, not the gifts. A gift from the giver is not judging others when you judge yourself in relationship to the divine. I hope that helps. I know I don't have the authority. Oh, I lost that one. It's going too fast for me, my friends. I see clearly in those who cause me pain. It takes time to get to that realization, a lot of time. But afterwards, I realized that they woke me up in a way that others may not. Yeah, that's the other side of it. People who cause you pain, people who cause you trouble, they certainly teach you. They do. They become your teachers. And they teach you about your inner world, your psychological world, your emotional world, my emotional world, my psychological world. I should be talking in I statements. Um, yeah, they were my teachers for sure. And I grow not only in terms of my spiritual life, but I also grow in terms of my relational life to society and to my work and to individuals. They're my teachers. Suffering is a teacher. And that's always true. It's as Rumi has so often said in the mouths of so many people, it's the crack where the light gets in. Off topic, Cal Extra, is that a piece of Medina glass behind you? No, my friend, but you have a keen eye. It is Italian glass style combined with Northern European style. These are all glass works by my dear friend Harry and Wendy Bessette at Vermont Glass, except for that piece right there. That's by Josh Simpson, who also studied glass. I have a lot of glass because I blew glass for a little while in my life. I loved blowing glass. I was never like that. Okay. I never did that kind of stuff. But they were my teachers and became my friends. And actually, Wendy's been my friend forever. She comes here. Um, these are her paintings. She paints, Harry blows. Um, yeah. But yeah, great. Thanks for asking. Thank you so much, Peter, says uh, Garji Jadhav. I feel so calm and peaceful after listening to me. So what I really try to do in every single not church is be the channel of peace. My whole goal in my life, every breath, every meditation, every Kriya yoga, it's all about becoming a channel of peace. First, to fill myself with peace so I could find balance in the world and a practical place to stand uh, in the turmoil, the ocean raging of life. And then over my lifetime to try to open my heart to let it flow from me, from my throat, from my mouth, from my tongue, from my eyes, from my brow, from my hands. I just try to be a channel of peace. But my goal isn't so much, it's my journey. This is it's really sort of selfish, I guess. I'm aiming my heart at the oneness of being because I am lost in this world. And the only solace I have here, I mean, I have fun. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I love my family. I had a delicious glass of wine the other night. I mean, I enjoy life, but the only true peace I have is inside. Because once you've been to the other side and experienced it, nothing else satisfies. And so any peace that you feel flowing from me is not mine. My life is an attempt to sacrifice myself, to surrender myself for myself to the divine, and to give away whatever I have been given to me, to give away whatever God gives me. And by giving it away, I get to keep it. It's this weird thing. When I tried to spend my life storing it up inside me like a cistern, and I got to store up quite a bit of it. And much of my earlier meditation life was about carving away a space inside myself, creating a cistern for the delicious wine of the divine to rest inside me, from which I could sip and drink. But then I found that I ran out on a daily basis. By the end of the day, I had none left. And instead of drinking wine, all I did was wine with a WH. And then I found that if I got out of the way, not only interiorly, but to the world, I have an unlimited supply. And so now my journey is to carve a deeper, wider, open space inside myself. I'm glad that you feel this peace. And the reason you feel this peace is, as Jesus said, let those who have ears hear, let those who have eyes see, let those with understanding understand. Let those with peace inside their heart feel peace. For those with goodness deep inside, and that's everybody. This is everybody, but not everybody has access because the veil is thick. But if you have a droplet of peace inside yourself, if you can perceive a droplet of peace inside yourself, then it's easier to see the peace and to feel it in the world. That's why we carve our paths inside ourselves. That's why we dig our way back, our striving. We strive back. It's totally okay. Thanks. Excellent, cat. That's beautiful. Thank you. Um, and just to make some connection and relationship, I did take for 3 years. I studied Tongsudo Murakwan, and that was my closest I ever got to Korea was Korean martial arts. And yes, I'm one of your Instagram followers. Nice to meet you. Thanks for finding me over there on Instagram. Um, cool. I love Instagram. What a great thing. It's so much fun. When I was struggling to forgive someone, says Emily, for hurting me, I remind myself that holding resentment and my pain against another ties me to them and that lower octave, and I seek to see them beyond that. Yes, true, so true. When we carry pain and anger about those who hurt us, we're the ones who suffer, and we get tied to them in this emotional experience, and we're the ones who suffer. This is the power of forgiveness. This is the power of learning not to judge. Not the kind of judging I was talking about before that you got to do in life. That's not what I'm talking about. But learning not to judge, the condemning judging. So when we judge someone, basically what we're saying to them is go to hell. And they do. But the thing is, it bounces off them and sticks to us like glue. Isn't that a crazy thought? Hmm? Especially since I'm a student and I have to understand that comparing myself to others is never okay. I need to reflect on my own self and feel God through the art of stillness. Thank you, excellent cat. If you feel God through the art of stillness, this is the total reason why we practice centering prayer. That's it. This is why centuries upon centuries of, and I'm like motioning to all the books in this place. You can't see all the books over there. I'm motioning to all these mystics around the world who all understood, who all came to understand silence and stillness is the access to peace. They teach you to practice forgiveness always, says Rowan. Thank you, Rowan. Jim, Beth says, I think many of us, I think many of us so that it's epidemic in our culture. I don't know what you said, Jim. Oh, there it is. I am often kinder to others than I am to myself. Yes, true. Got to love yourself, loving yourself. We should talk more about self love. Maybe one of these Sundays we should talk about self love. What would you think of that? I habitually judge myself harshly, no doubt creating self karma. Yep. Because the same measure by which you measure others, and when you measure yourself, how does that work? The measure by which you measure yourself is the emotional, psychological state in which you live. How can we learn to practice self-acceptance and not treat ourselves more kindly? It's the same solution, Jim. It's always the same solution. I love Okay, so I spent a lot of my life not liking myself. Okay, truthfully, I didn't like myself. I have all sorts of like everybody. Okay, I'm not saying I'm special in this way. I've got ailments and physical things and brain things, and I didn't really like myself. And sometimes because I'm impetuous and I have ADHD, I blurt things, and so which is why I script myself, try to stop from blurting. Um, I found a way to love myself when I learned to love God. When I learned to empty myself and find the peace, once the peace started to live inside me, I began to love myself not for who I am as a human being, but for who I am as a divine spark of goodness with a capital G. When Jesus would love thyself isn't about loving your mortal self. It's about loving the divine spark of you. It's about just merely seeing it, merely experiencing it, merely glimpsing it just once. That is the point of self love. That's the beginning of true self love. It's always the same thing, Jim. I know I say it a million times. It's always about the relationship with the divine. Now, practically speaking, there are things psychologically and emotionally we can do to help love ourselves. We can forgive ourselves. So when I say something stupid, or like I wrote this thing yesterday on Facebook, and when I looked at it this morning, it was full of spelling mistakes because I'm ADHD and dyslexic, and I can't really see my mistakes. It isn't. If it wasn't for Grammarly, thank God. Um, so I felt badly about it as I always do. But what are you going to do? I accept myself for who I am. I think that's part of self love is accepting yourself for who you are. And if you're depressive, accept that you're depressive and know that that's not the true self. Don't beat yourself up over it because it doesn't help. Jim, I hope that helps a little bit, my friend. We could talk that over a little bit more in salon. We've been in this for 52 minutes. We got about 8 minutes left, or a little bit less than that. Rock on, Peter. Charlie says, I heard a guy who had a PhD in geology. He was a member of a rock band. His nickname was the Doctor of Rock. Oh, that's a great name. Hey, thank you, Self Illuminosity, for your gift this morning, for your super chat. I appreciate it. The Doctor of Rock. I like that. Um, let's see. Do you think Rumi had an NDE? Mm, he certainly speaks like one. But see, the thing is, you don't have to have a near death experience to experience the oneness of being. Okay, all through history, there have been mystical experiencers of the divine, geniuses, and it's rare for me, other than that quote I found today or last week by Meister Eckhart. Until last week, I didn't think that Meister Eckhart may even have possibly had a near death experience, because you can be raptured out of your body into the divine presence and have such a profound union experience that you're not actually even there anymore. It's just your soul, and you can have the fullness of the expression of like a near death experience, without having died. Now, Rumi's definitely like a near death experience, or only more so, like deeper in. Maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe he didn't, but definitely he sounds like one. That's much as I can say. Um, what are you talking about? Is something I have been experiencing lately, artist Tom. I have found a sense of peace inside myself. Thank you. Yay! Yay! You found a sense of peace inside yourself. That's the origin of all these things. That's how we learn not to judge, is by being in that place of peace, by finding the stillness and the silence and bringing that into our real lives. I'm so glad to hear that, artist. That is beautiful. Michelle, thank you. Yes. Sorry, Peter, you're late here. Hey, Rob, I know, but you got a life going on over there in England, or in the Wales rather, and I know that you'll catch up. And I appreciate you jumping in here and saying so, brother. Question, unrelated, and we got less than 5 minutes. Are the beings I see in sleep paralysis connected in any way to the afterlife? Sometimes it's people, sometimes they look like fantastical. and robotic objects. It's too big a question to answer right now, my friend. I definitely have some experience with that space, that sleep paralysis space. Maybe you want to talk about it privately, or maybe if um, I think I have a video on it. I talked about the experience I have is pretty dark with that space, but I'd love to talk about it, but I don't think we have time to get into it today, my friend. Um, so yes, self-love is the hardest. So maybe self-love next week. We should talk a little bit about that. Religion doesn't help you find the way easily depending on what you're taught and inherited. Yeah, mysticism doesn't like institution. Yeah. Yes, please let's talk about self-love. Okay, self-love is a great topic. Oh, I better make a freaking note so I don't forget. Because if it's not written down, doesn't exist in my world. Self-love Sunday topic. And remember, next week I'm going to be at a wedding in super rural Maine, but I'll do something ahead of time on that. And we're going to run out of time in a minute or so. I live with ADHD too, though the inattentive type, along with the PTSD disassociation. I judge myself daily for these ailments. I need to learn how to cultivate daily self love. I can help you with that because I have that same problem. Um, I don't know if you found ADHD TikTok. ADHD TikTok for all you ADHD people out there. ADHD TikTok, it's super helpful. Um, but yeah, I find my solution to that problem too is diving into my space of silence and peace, and that just kind of leaks into my life. We're running out of time, my friends. Exactly, though. Through meditation, I had numerous mystical experiences, very similar to some of the NDEs I've been hearing about. That happens, Louise. Um, Thanks for this, says excellent cat. Peace to you, my friend over there in Korea, if that's where you are. Uh, Yay. All right, I gotta go. We gotta go. I gotta take a little break here before Mystic Tea Salon. If you look at the very bottom of the notes, you're gonna see the connection point to Mystic Tea Salon. There's a Zoom link and a password and phone numbers and all that kind of stuff to get in there. And I'll be there at the top of the next hour, which is only moments away. So thank you all. Um, Very annoying. I find not fighting it helps sometimes. Let's Excellent. Well said, EK. I got to go. Peace and love. Namaste, my friends. I'll see you next Sunday, even though I will actually not be here looking at you. I'll be up there at the wedding. Peace and love, my friends. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your help. Thanks for your support. It really makes a difference. All right. Peter Panagore.love. Peace and love. See you soon at Zoom.